Hey guys, welcome in another episode, a little bit of life podcast with your host, Little. We have all seen the show Yellowstone and we all love and hate Miss Beth Dutton, but I have a real Beth Dutton on real life with me. She's a rancher and she's going viral with her video on Instagram and on TikTok stating that she married a guy because he looked hot in a cowboy hat. I mean, how much more honesty can we get from that? Now she is a ranch wife and she is showing every woman that just because you didn't grow up on a ranch doesn't mean you can't do the job. Madi, welcome in. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to have you on. I saw your video as I was scrolling the Instagram reels, and I could not stop laughing at how real and just vulnerable you are. You were not born on a ranch, but you're living a lifestyle that, like you and I have kind of talked about, most people think they know what it looks like and what it is, but it's really not what they think. So, how did you get into this lifestyle?
So I grew up in a city, quote unquote city in New Mexico. I grew up on a golf course like 5 minutes from Walmart. That's like always my little story. And but like definitely more like southern, like people wore boots and hats and stuff to dress up. That was normal. But I was always really drawn to the Western lifestyle and definitely like cowboys. It's not that obviously they were cute and hot and whatever, but I just really loved like the value, the values that they held, you know what I mean? And so, and just like the manners, I don't know, like
Mhm.
I don't know who's listening, but if you've never met like a Southern guy, it's just different. And, I actually like moved to Lubbock for college, Lubbock, Texas, and I had sworn off like cowboys. And I think that's so funny. Then I met my husband like literally a month later. And when I met him, I had no idea the true like the extent of how much his life is ranch life and cowboy life. We've been married for 2.5 years now, together for 8. And so, in the time span of 8 years, I've had to learn like how to work cattle, how to give shots and vaccinate cattle and like castrate cattle and all like just all the things that go into running an operation. So that I just kind of honestly fell into
Mhm.
it.
I love that you talk about if anyone's listening, you have not met a Southern man. It's true. I just relocated from Arizona to Texas. I will say this state is so damn big. I'm amazed at how far it takes you just to get somewhere. Like I always see these amazing ranch and cattle places and look them up on Google Maps. I'm like, oh, that's only like 5.5 hours. Sure, no problem. But the Southern gentleman is so true. I'm 37 years old. I'm aging myself. This is the first time in my life I've ever even had a door open for me, a car door, a
Wow.
restaurant door. They make sure that you're seated before they're seated. So it's such a different lifestyle and it's so true. So I love the fact that you have this great sense of style. I have her Instagram information in the bio, but you're also just yourself. And I feel like that's so necessary in this Western world where, let's be real, some women are just nasty and they're not very, you know, they don't compliment, they're almost at a competition. So what have you learned by being a ranch wife now about the Western world that you looked up to so much?
I think being a ranch wife in itself is a title that I hold a lot of pride in, and I feel like I've joined like a club. That's what I like. I feel like I have a lot to like standards to hold up to, um, but at the same time, I've always tried to be very genuine in who I am. And that goes with everything, like how I talk, like who I hang out with, the way I dress. Um, a lot of my friends, most of my friends, like 98% of them live in big cities. They're accountants, scientists, engineers. Like, so it's just very, very different. Like, our 20s and married life looked complete opposite. But I feel like bringing that in with me has really set me apart in the game as far as being a ranch wife and like living this lifestyle, but also like just bringing who I am to the table at the same time. And the awesome thing about the Western world and the women that are in it, even though there is like, there's always going to be the few that ruin things for everyone. But people have just like really
Mm-hmm.
like brought me in and accepted like who I am and like what I stand for. And I think a lot of that had to do with me just being 100% honest from the get go. That I had no idea what I was doing and that I am new and I wanted to like learn and be a part of this world. Um, I used to, when I first started my social media, I had a hashtag that was like ranch wife in training. And because like I never wanted to pretend that I had any idea what I was doing and I kind of just like brought everybody along with me for the journey. And so I don't know if I answered the question, but I that would be like what
Mm-hmm.
I would say um really like sets me apart and allows me to be true to myself while still embracing the lifestyle that I've taken on.
What is the hardest part that you would say of switching from city life to living, like you said, in the middle of nowhere and learning how to do and live in this lifestyle?
I would say there's two things that have been very difficult for me. Um, the isolation one. I'm a people person. I love just being in a crowd. I like to just I take myself out to lunch and dinners. I sit at the bar and talk to the bartender. Like that's just my personality. And obviously out here it's I don't see anyone really. So I've had to like really learn personally how to be okay with being alone. And I mean, obviously my husband's here, but he's working. Um, a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand that ranching and cowboying is still a real thing in life. But like my husband works 7 days a week because we work here, and so I'm by myself
Mm-hmm.
majority of the time. And you mentioned before we started talking that I travel a lot, and that's kind of just to like fill up my um, extrovert cup, I guess. But the older I get, I've learned
Mm-hmm.
that it's okay to like be a little bit of an introvert and like take some time to yourself. Um, and then the second thing I would say that I've has been so different is like the inconvenience. So because we live so far away, like it takes me an hour. The closest grocery store to me is 20 minutes, but that's like a little Lowe's. Like it's not like a Walmart or an HEB. So if I want to, or HEB is like it's a Texas. You live in Texas now. You know what HEB is. Well, some people don't, but it's a big grocery store chain.
Mm-hmm.
I did a podcast one time and they were like, "What is Heb?" And I was like, "It's HEB. It's a grocery store." Anyway, it's like it's like 40 minutes from me, but a nice one and like a town where like I actually can like so when I go and run errands, I was telling you like I get my nails done, I'll get my hair done, like I'll go to the grocery store, I'll take myself out to eat. I got my social security, I went to the social security office, like stuff like that. I have to do it all in one day. And because it's just so we just live so far out. And then like also with my social media presence and stuff and the opportunities like working with brands, I'm traveling a lot. And like you said, um, like we in Texas think that driving 6 hours is nothing because it's not. Like I drive to Fort Worth probably once a month, if not twice, and that's 6.5 hours from us. So the inconvenience
Mm-hmm.
of just being able to
Everything
go
is
and get
so
milk.
far.
Yeah, yeah. It's like little things. Like I I don't like get my nails done a ton because it's like, okay, we'll have to go back in 3.5 weeks. Or it's just like little things you don't think about. Or like we stock our pantry so that I don't have to like continually go and grocery shop because I can't. So
I think with the ranch life, so many people are seeing it for what the entertainment industry is showing it as, which is so different. Like you said, it is something that your husband works 7 days a week. It's not something that if you have a sick day, you just don't tend to the animals or you don't tend to your life. It is day in, day out, especially like we just got that massive ice storm here in Texas a couple weeks ago. Nothing stops you from having to do your daily life, which makes it really hard when you come from a city life of, you're able to have a little bit of lax here and there. You're able to have a vacation day, or you're able to have a girls' day or a date night. And there's a lot of times in that ranch style in the community that you don't have that opportunity. Is that something that was kind of hard for you to kind of fit into at, kind of at the very beginning?
Yeah, there's like a running joke, and even when I got married, my mother-in-law was like, the cows come first. And even though yeah, obviously my husband loves me, but it is true. Like the cows and the livestock come first because we have to take care of them and we have to feed them, water, make sure they have water. Um, and so I think I kind of like prepared myself for that in a way. It's not as like it's not like the nice thing about ranch life, I will say, and we both work for ourselves, so um we kind of like we can decide like, okay, well, we're gonna do this these days so that we can have Thursday to go do whatever, or like we can take off on a Wednesday and go to the doctor, and you know what I mean. So we kind of like we get to set our own schedule, so it's not as terrible. Really, it is pretty lax. We don't have anyone telling us like when to do something or how to do it. Like my husband and my father-in-law run the ranch, so we'll like switch off days, or if they're out of town, like we'll stay, or vice versa. So I don't know. It just depends on how you look at it. I think in the beginning, it took a lot of like my husband, it could just like work, 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 work all the time. And I'm more just like free spirit. And so we've had to, I think that's in any marriage, we've had to learn to like compromise. So it's not as bad as it
Mm-hmm.
had been in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. On your Instagram, for those that don't follow, give her a follow. She's very sweet and simple, but she's entertaining in like her own way. And that's why I loved having her on,
Thanks.
because it's something that we see what people present on social media, but until you actually have a sit down chat, I always think like, I really wonder what this person's like in real life. What are we working with here? And I love that your hashtag is beef slingin babe on your Instagram. I think that is hilarious. What kind of a ranch do you guys run? Like, what do you do day in and day out? What does it look like for you?
So we have a cow calf operation, and for those of you that aren't familiar with ranching world, we raise our cattle to raise the calves to sell the calves for meat. Um, we run 100% Black Angus, which is what you'll majority find at like a grocery store or a restaurant. It's the most common. It's the best. Just kidding, but uh, and then we also run Dorper sheep. So Dorper sheep we sell their meat, not the wool. So we don't shear them or anything. And that is like something we're all new to. So um, we definitely, where we live in Texas, it's more like sheep and goat country, but sheep and goats are a lot, like they're way more stubborn. They're not a lot of work, but it's hard to keep them alive. um, so day to day, like honestly, like shows like Yellowstone, like I love that they're keeping like the Western story alive and the tradition. Obviously, it's Hollywood, so they dramatize a lot of stuff. It's not a lot of days around here are slow. Like my husband left this morning, and it's constantly like fixing fence, fixing water gaps, which out here, like if it rains, it'll flood a lot. So he has to fix the gaps so the cows don't get out. Um, Feeding in the winter, we're feeding like 4 to 5 days a week because it's so dry, without any grass. So it's not like a riveting day every single day. And I can't really like speak for him because he's out there all the time. I'm not, but we also have another ranch in West Texas, and Kent's brother runs that one. And so we have 2 big work weekends for each ranch. So that's 4 total. And that is whenever we like sort the new calves, vaccinate them, and get them ready to like sell for the next year. So those are the big like brandings and stuff like that that you see on TV, um, or in movies. Other than that, it's, I don't want to say mundane because that's not the right word. It is hard work. It's just it. My husband says his favorite part of ranching is that it's something different every day, whether that's good or bad. Um, like you never know what you're gonna get. So, um, so yeah, yeah, yeah.
With looking at your social media, where do you get your fashion from? Because your fashion is very much like city meets boho western meets like your own sense of spunk and style thrown in there. So how, and I know you do a lot of branding and stuff like that. How do you get your style? Because I will say, if you have not followed her Instagram, it is, I love it. I'm like obsessed with your style. It's the cutest thing ever.
Um, I feel like you just described my brain. Like if I was to describe my brain to anyone, it'd be like, oh, it's a little this and that and this, and I don't really know what's going on. But really, honestly, I feel like that comes out in my style. Like I said, like a lot of my friends live in the city, and I've loved fashion. Like I always have. I almost went to school for it. I So I think I've just had like an innate sense of um, style. To me is like anybody can be fashionable, right? Like all you have to do is like buy the hottest trend, whatever. But to have like real style, I think that you have to have like a unique sense and like an idea of how things go together and what works and what doesn't. Um, my whole thing is, and I actually just started, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but I just started a page, Comfy Cowgirl, and I've like put together outfits for people and link
Hmm.
them, and so they can see how to do it. Um, but so Comfy Cowgirl started because like my style is very like I would say like street style, like oversized t-shirts, very like chic, but like I can still like hang out with the boys kind of stuff. Um, and so I started, my friends were like, well, you always like, you're not super dressed up and you could be in sweats or like an oversized t shirt, but it like works and it's cute. And so I came up with the idea of Comfy Cowgirl. And it's definitely like a mixture of street style and Western because not growing up in the Western world, like I love like the Western traditional stuff. I'm from New Mexico, so I love Southwest, like turquoise, conchos, fringe. I love a good hat, whether it's a cowboy hat or a trucker hat or a ball cap. Um, but I'm not like a jeans and boots with a like I'm just like that. I'm not that girl. Like I'm more trendy. I'm more modern. And so like I don't know, like what I do is I'll follow Vogue and I'll follow like all these high fashion influencers. And then I'm also in this Western world where I work with like Justin Boots or Boot Barn or whatever. And so I'll take those and just kind of like mesh them and make them my own personal style. And it's worked so far. I think there's some people that don't like it, but I mean, it's worked so far for me.
I think it comes across as very unique. I think that we live in a world where we're almost carbon copies of each other. We see something that is the hit or the fad and we want to wear it and we want to express ourselves. But I feel like so many of us women, we don't know how to express ourselves when it's something like that. It's a carbon copy. How do you express your personality wearing something that everyone else is wearing? And I think you do an exceptional job pulling it off. you're very city, but mixed with a little bit of ranch western, mixed with a little bit of your own sense of style. And I love that you just throw yourself out there of this is me, and you're either going to love it or you're not. And it's okay if you don't, but I love what I'm in. And I think that that's something that more women need to feel comfortable in their own skin and feel comfortable. If you like an outfit and if you feel trendy, wear it. Rock it. There's nothing wrong with other people's opinions, and I think that that really reflects in your social media presence. You're very much of,
Thank you.
I'm not fitting into this box, I'm not fitting into the mold, and this is me, and this is me, the good and the bad and everything else in between. So I really love how you just show yourself and your uniqueness, and I think more of us need to really be more comfortable in doing that.
Thank you. I also like going to events and like, I mean, even just in everyday life, like weddings or meetings, whenever I used to work in an office and stuff, I I just wasn't comfortable like wearing like strict office attire, or and I'm very lucky to have a job now where I can wear whatever I want. And I get some people can't do that, but I even like going out, like girls just wearing, I love a girl in like a tight outfit or whatever, rhinestones, but it's just not me. And I didn't feel confident. And I feel like that reflected on my personality. It like affected me. And so I just got to where I was like, you know what? Like, you might be in that tight little mini skirt or whatever, but like, I'm going to wear this because I feel good in like a pair of ripped jeans and like a t shirt and maybe some like strappy heels, dress it up a little bit. Um, and so once I started doing that and like really just being, like you said, confident in myself, I feel like it reflected and I got way more compliments. And I don't even think maybe yeah my outfit was cute, but I think it had more to do with just like I was radiating like my own personality, and like just like feeling happy and confident. And so I think that has a lot to do with style. I don't think it's necessarily what you're wearing, it's how you wear it.
I agree. Well, I'm really happy to have you on this episode. I'm going to put all your information in the bio, not only just your Instagram, but also the new company, that the Comfy Cowgal. I think if you are listening to this and you're like, I don't know how to put an outfit together, I don't know what I'm doing, I feel like I don't look right, go to her page, ask her questions, follow her. She's someone that, like in this interview, she's not afraid to be herself. And I think that that's something that more as women, we need to not be in competition with each other, but we need to complement each other. And when you find a female that you're like, wow, I love your style, it's okay to reach out or say, hey, I love this. How do I kind of get my own unique style for myself? So I really appreciate you coming on, and I just love
Thank you.
how vulnerable you are, and just you're just so down to earth, and it's really hard to find people, especially nowadays, that are like that.
I agree. Thank you.